We're all booked up discussion time, so grab a cozy beverage, grab a cozy blanket like I have. Shout out to my grandma. Air conditioning, man. I dress for the summer weather and then I'm freezing when I get inside, but warm up with a good book, a cup of coffee, all will be well. Welcome Andrea and Marty. Always a pleasure to have you here in Upper Michigan today.
It's always one of the best days of the month when we can be here with you.
And we have another book to discuss.
Yes.
James.
Ooh.
Percival Everett, a retelling of the classic Huckleberry Finn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Andrea, why don't you tell them what it's about?
Surely. In true Andrea fashion, I finished this just moments ago.
In the car on the way here.
Behind the scenes. And this is a very powerful book. It's probably been one of my favorite reads this year. Highly recommend. And you follow a character named Jim. And this is a play off of Huckleberry Finn by, why can't I think of his name?
Twain.
Mark Twain, duh.
Classic author guy.
I've just been reading too much this morning. And so this is told from his perspective. So now you get to go into Jim's psyche. He develops as a character. He's trying to find his wife and daughter as he's running away from all these very anxious moments. And this does take place in
right around the Civil War time. So
right before it breaks out.
Yeah, right before. In fact, I think it's breaking out at the end of the novel. So, but it's just so good. I mean, Everett takes Huck Finn, the book Huckleberry Finn, which we were all forced to read in high school at some point in time, or we were all supposed to read it in high school at a certain time.
Yeah,
John, I'm not going to say anything, but...
And Andrea, too.
But, yeah, he takes this book and then he writes in between the lines, and in doing that, he sort of makes reading Huck Finn even a richer experience by that. Percival Everett's just a great writer, and choosing to do it from the perspective of James, the escaped slave, is pretty controversial because Jim is sort of a controversial figure in literary history. Huck Finn always ends up on the banned books lists all the time. So I think that in this way, Everett's sort of honoring Huck Finn, but also bringing it into contemporary times.
And do you think in contemporary times it's important to maybe look at those lists of banned books and like add it to your list because it's banned? Why should we continue to read these books?
Do you want to answer that one?
Take this one.
Well, you know what? I think that the reason that books get banned is because they challenge our beliefs and our belief systems that we might have held for decades or even centuries. And they're not good beliefs. And so when you're challenged like that, people feel a little threatened. But also, I think it also encourages people who read these books to open their minds to experiences that might not look like theirs, but are equally as important to know about.
I mean, and Huckleberry Finn, it's a classic book. A lot of people read it. A lot of people they didn't read it, but the message persists. Why do you think it's still relevant in modern times? Why do we continue to read it and then have retellings like James?
Well, I think it gives us where we were, about now it's like almost we're going on 2 centuries ago for Huck Finn. But it reminds us of who we were, right? And it reminds us in history of how we need to move forward and be better people. And I think that's what's really relevant about Huck Finn, still reading it. Twain was writing about his time and the people that he knew and the social situations that he knew. And Percival Everett is doing the same thing. He's doing it from the African-American experience and explaining how this book fits into that. And also taking Huckleberry Finn, the novel, and just expanding it and making you appreciate it even more.
And even just rewriting history. I mean, we know that the history that we read is really told by one perspective, and that's the perspective of the winner. So now we are having this book, and it's highlighting those individuals that just didn't have a voice. and we're seeing their trials and tribulations and the anxiety they felt and what was normal to them and how they used code switching, a different form of language, to make the white characters feel safe around them so they themselves could feel safe just existing. And I think that was an incredible thing to highlight, that me, myself, didn't realize what an important thing to have for a society to survive.
And that's what's really brilliant about the book, is that Percival Everett really highlights those aspects of the experience of slavery for African Americans. And really, in doing so, and you'd seen this code switching where James is talking like, you know, we would talk to each other any day and with language. But then as soon as a white character shows up, you know, he switches the language, and suddenly it's to make the white characters feel superior to them, although most of the white characters in this book are not superior to James in any way, shape, or form.
And so a lot of times with novels like James, having another perspective, I mean, really that's how we should be digesting our histories in the first place, is not just through one story and one perspective. So this book helps us do that. Of course, even if you didn't read it with us through the month of June, you can still pick up a copy of James at your local bookstore, at your local library, and enjoy that. But we do have another book recommendation for you, but it's not coming until after the commercial break, so hang tight. We'll be back in 3 minutes.